Hello and welcome to ARIRANG News on this Wednesday, October 26th. I'm Han-daeun in Seoul. A top U.S. intelligence official's remark that he believes North Korea will never give up its nuclear weapons has drawn strong responses from both the U.S. and the South Korean government. Seoul and Washington said they stand firm in the belief that their current denuclearization policy will eventually have the desired effect. Kwon So-ah starts us off.
An official at Seoul's foreign ministry says that the will of South Korea and the United States to denuclearize North Korea has not only remained the same, it is stronger than ever. While also noting that the U.S. has made the same public statement on several occasions. The official was responding to remarks made by Director of National Intelligence James Clapper.
I think the notion of getting the North Koreans to denuclearize is probably a lost cause. They are not going to do that. That is their ticket to survival.
The intelligence chief said the U.S. had options to encourage the regime to reduce its stockpile, but it would require some give and take.
Well, the best we could probably hope for is some sort of a cap, but they're not going to do that just because we ask them. There's going to have to be some significant inducements.
The U.S. State Department issued a swift response. Spokesperson John Kirby insisted that Washington remains fully dedicated to its denuclearization policy and made clear that Clapper's views do not represent Washington's stance. He added that the U.S. is hoping for a resumption of the six-party denuclearization talks once North Korea is able to demonstrate verifiable efforts toward that end. But what exactly constitutes verifiable efforts?
Inspectors have to be able to go into the country and be able to see whether or not North Korea is in keeping with the agreement to denuclearize, should it agree to do so. An example, would be something like what they did in Iran, except in Iran, in the case of Iran, it was a freeze. So in North Korea, it would have to be denuclearization, which is what the State Department has reiterated.
While there are concerns, there is some division within the U.S. on North Korea policy. Some experts say the U.S. intelligence chief's statement should not be taken too seriously, as many things could change because the current administration is on its way out in a few months. Kwon So-ah, ARIRANG News.
The surging price of North Korean coal being exported to China has highlighted the flaws in the international community's sanctions on Pyongyang for its nuclear and missile provocations. The problem here is the UN Security Council gives exceptions to trade with purposes of people's livelihoods. Connie Kim has the story.
The price of North Korean coal exported to China has surged almost 70%, providing Pyongyang with extra funds for its development of nuclear weapons. Citing China's financial data provider, the Wall Street Journal reported Tuesday that the average price of the North's anthracite coal peaked at $99 a ton in recent weeks from around $59 in August. The report attributed the price surge to China's restrictions of its own coal output this year and heavy rainfall in July. It said Pyongyang and Beijing's coal trade highlights the flaws in efforts to choke off funding for the regime's nuclear weapons program. North Korea was the third largest coal supplier to China last year and exported 2.5 million tons of the fossil fuel to its traditional ally in August, the highest monthly total on record. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry previously pinpointed a livelihood-related loophole in the current sanctions that has allowed the coal trade between the two to flourish.
Greatest amount of coal and the greatest amount of revenue historically has just passed between China and North Korea. And that is hardly putting in place the kinds of sanctions that ought to be in place.
Closing loopholes in the existing sanctions is what the UN Security Council is aiming for, but progress is proving slow as some nations are against it. China's ambassador to the UN reportedly said Beijing was against hurting the well-being of the North Korean people by closing the loophole. Connie Kim, ARIRANG News.
While the entire nation is still reeling from the shocking revelation related to President Park Geun-hye's close personal acquaintance Choi Soon-sil, the presidential office says it has no comment on the questions that have arisen since the president's apology yesterday, in which she said she was sorry for seeking advice on her speeches from her longtime aide Choi. At a daily briefing, the presidential spokesperson said no follow-up measures are being taken at the moment within the top office, and all allegations and suspicions will be cleared through the prosecution's investigation. Lawmakers on both sides of the political aisle are reflecting on both the implications of the Choi Soon-sil case and the next steps. The ruling Saenuri Party, after an emergency meeting this morning, demanded a large-scale cabinet reshuffle involving all officials directly or indirectly related to the Choi Soon-sil revelation. Party leader Lee Geun said the matter should not end with the president's apology and called for a rigorous investigation. Echoing that, Saenuri floor leader Chung Jin-seok demanded that the presidential office find Choi Soon-sil and her daughter and bring them back to Korea for questioning. Seoul prosecutors say they're presumed to be in Germany but are not sure of their exact whereabouts. The opposition parties are also demanding a complete reshuffle of the presidential secretaries. The main opposition Democratic Party demanded an extensive probe, calling the incident a leak of the nation's secrets and thus a breach of national law. But the liberals have, in general, approached the idea of impeachment with caution. We'll have in-depth coverage of this in our evening newscast. That's all from me. Thank you for watching. Business Daily is next.